magnificent structure, which is now a luxury hotel and has a golf course and a restaurant that has been awarded a Michelin star, proudly stands amidst meadows and lakes on the island of Zealand, which is located in Denmark. Peder Sunesen, the Bishop of Roskilde, constructed Dragsholm in 1215 as a palace. According to legend, it is still considered to be one of the most haunted castles in all of Europe. There are 3 hauntings in particular that have made Dragsholm Castle famous: the Earl of Bothwell, the White Lady, and the Grey Lady. The Earl of Bothwell is a problematic lord. The White Lady is a forlorn girl who was bricked into the wall, and the Grey Lady is a thankful guardian. It is reported that there are at least 100 spirits who walk the halls of Dragsholm Castle. We need to take a look back into the history of the castle, which spans 800 years, in order to get a better understanding of their tales. Dragsholm was the only castle to survive the civil war that took place in Denmark between the years 1534 and 1536, which was often referred to as the Count's Feud. It had its start as a stately palace and was well fortified throughout the Middle Ages. Nevertheless, after the Revolution, the ownership of Dragsholm Castle was transferred to the Crown, and from the year 1536 until the year 1664, it was used as a kind of jail. During this time, the castle was undergoing what is considered to be its darkest era. The individuals who were being kept captive here were the noblemen of the area, some of whom may have even lived in or visited Dragsholm during its more spectacular days. Following then, the Protestant Reformation took place. Dragsholm later became a place of residence for a number of bishops and other ecclesiastical detainees, as Lutheranism advanced across Denmark and the Catholic Church was finally made illegal. The detainees included a number of notable individuals, including Joachim Renaud, who held the position of the last Catholic Bishop of Roskilde and, ironically, had previously owned the location. Additionally, James Hepburn, the 4th Earl of Bothwell, and the 3rd husband of Mary, Queen of Scots, was also placed among the convicts. According to our list, he is also the first ghost that we have. James Hepburn was a Scottish nobleman who was known for his disruptive behavior. It seemed as if trouble was following him. He was just getting out of one predicament when he found himself in another one. After leaving Scotland in 1567 in the goal of saving his life, Hepburn believed that he would be able to find safety in a location that would be more favorable. His ship was forced to make an emergency landing in Norway, which was administered by Denmark at the time. Unfortunately for him, he was detained there because he did not possess the appropriate identity documents. Some of his previous transgressions came back to haunt him, most notably in the form of Anna Thronsen, an important ex-fiancée who had been abandoned and whose dowry he had stolen. This was in addition to the fact that it was well knowledge that the English were eager to catch up with him in relation to the murder of his current wife's second husband. After some time, the Danish monarch sent the Earl of Bothwell to the town of Dragsholm. The legends tell us that he was tied to a pillar and that he was only provided with the minimum amount of food and drink necessary to keep him alive. During the 10 years that Hepburn was imprisoned at Dragsholm Castle, the tradition asserts that he became mad during that time. He spent that time walking around his pillar until he passed away in April of 1578, at which point he had worn a circular groove in the floor that is still visible to this day. That groove may be seen to this day. Even though his physical body was taken out of the castle, his soul continued to reside there. It is far more likely that the spirit of the Earl is heard than seen. It has been said that the courtyard is filled with the sounds of horses' hooves, which are occasionally accompanied by the noises of a fully laden carriage. This location continued to serve as a jail until Charles VI Gustav of Sweden, during the Dano-Swedish War, 1658-60, made an effort to blow it up. It wasn't until the monarch handed up Dragsholm to a grocer called Heinrich Müller as a form of payment for a debt that the town continued to be in a state of disrepair and corruption. After the purchase of Dragsholm in 1694 by Frederick Christian Adler, the next owner of the castle, started the process of restoring it. However, the Baroque-style reconstruction that we see today was not finished until the following owner. This property remained in the Adler family's possession until the year 1932. In the absence of any other heirs, the Central Land Board assumed possession of the deeds of property. Approximately 5 years after its first purchase, the castle was acquired by J.F. Butger, and it continues to be managed by the Butger family up to this day. Since the 17th century, the architecture that we see today has remained almost intact, with the exception of a few restorations that were carried out after the conclusion of the First World War. As a result of this renovation, a significant number of the saloons and ballrooms were decorated in a late Romantic style motif. A horrible find was discovered by workers in the 1930s as they were fixing the plumbing. The discovery was made at some point in time. There had been rumors going about for a long time that the ghostly apparition of a young maiden, clothed in white, would stalk the castle at night, looking for her forbidden lover. The fact that they discovered this gave her narrative some credibility. She was said to have been the daughter of one of the numerous people who owned the castle, according to the legend. The young woman, who may have been Selina Bovlis, fell in love with a guy who worked at the castle. It would have been very inappropriate for a lady of nobility to begin a relationship with a commoner, yet the young lady did so. The fact that they were having an affair in private was brought to her attention by her father, who, in a fit of wrath, not only locked her up in a jail cell inside the tower, but also bricked her up as she was within the wall. This was merely another ghost tale, the White Lady, who was said to be eternally mourning a lost love and could be heard sobbing in her sadness. This continued until the skeleton of a woman dressed in a white robe was found within the wall. The tale of the Grey Lady is a ghost story that is significantly more humorous than other ghost stories. A lady who, as a gesture of appreciation, continued to serve in this castle long after she had passed away, is the subject of this story. While she was working here, this servant had a terrible toothache during her time here. A poultice, according to some tales, was the sort of therapy that the master of the house made sure she got, in order to alleviate the agony that she was experiencing.